Hello, friends. Welcome to the Nope Coach podcast. This is episode 316, last day of my 30s. I'm actually being super organized and recording these ahead of time, which is unusual for me because at the time of you playing this, if you play it the day that it drops, I will be in New Zealand. And on this day, the 11th of March, Milford Sound. And I don't know if you've been there. If you're not familiar with it, Google Milford Sound. There's Milford Sound, Doubtful Sound, Dusky Sound down the southern part of New Zealand. Absolutely glorious. And if you're a Lord of the Rings fan, you've likely seen cut scenes, parts of it, because it shows up a lot in the Lord of the Rings movies. And it's just, to me, the most beautiful place in the world. Wouldn't want to live there because it rains like 330 days of the year and it's particularly cold, but it's fabulous. And if you follow me on social media, you will no doubt see a lot of New Zealand spam. All of this to say, last day of my 30s. What a decade this one's been. I had my second child. I moved interstate 3 times, I think. My husband's been through I don't know how many jobs. It's been a minute. And as on the eve of coming into my 40s, I know a lot of people say life begins at 40. And I think back to my teenage years, my early 20s, where I was like such a people pleaser and such a perfectionist and so polite and never spoke out. And then, into my late 30s, where I was just like, fuck this. I am hesitant to see what emerges coming into my 40s. Also excited because I'm just so tired of, the good girl archetype of doing the things that I'm supposed to do, of, keeping the peace and not rocking the boat and staying quiet and making everybody else happy but myself, like at the expense of myself. And how many times do we do this? I remember growing up as a child, I'm the youngest of 4. My mum never had any friends. She never had any girlfriends. She never went out for coffee or movies or anything. She never had any hobbies. She was a wonderful mother, and she worked and she mummed, and that was all that she did. And that's a lot. I'm not downplaying that. But I remember watching her when I was growing up, and I wasn't a child who was growing up wanting to be a mum. Some people have like that mothering archetype from a young age. Like my daughter Xanthi has it. She can't wait to be a mum. She's like pre-named her kids and knows how many she wants to have, and she mothers everyone and everything around her, and it's a beautiful thing to watch. I never had that growing up, and I don't know if it's just because of the experience and what I witnessed. I was like, once you become a mum, you don't have any friends, you don't have any hobbies, and all you do is work, run people around, help them with their homework, cook and clean. I was like, that's not a deal I really want to sign up for. And I met my now husband when I was 18, and we weren't 100% sure that we wanted to have children. And there are a lot of people making the choice in this day and age to be child-free by choice. And we obviously changed our minds, and we since have 2 wonderful children who I love fiercely. But the deal that we made when we were together and I was, 18 and into my early 20s was, we'll park this whole idea until I get to 28, and then we will decide. And when I reached 28, we were like, yeah, we think we might make good parents. And I got pregnant my first month. And I remember when I fell pregnant, my husband was like so over the moon. And I was like a bit in shock. And he's like, what's wrong? I was like, well, I thought this was going to take 6 months or so. Like, I think in the back of my mind, I was like, we'll try for a bit. And if it doesn't work, then, I wasn't leaning either way. But it wasn't until I had Xanthi, who's my oldest child, more so definitely when Casimir came along, that I realized that I didn't have to be the kind of mum my mum was, like what was modeled to me. Sometimes people go the exact opposite, and I didn't saying I wanted to be that either, but it was like, I can be a mum, but I can also put myself first. Self first isn't selfish. There are times like at the time of recording this, we only have Netflix, but just one screen. And so the other day I was watching Lucifer. Love that show. If you haven't watched it, well, I actually should say I was rewatching because I've seen it before, but it's so good. And I went to go in and it said, maximum screen limit reached. was like, okay, which kid's on Netflix? Like, get off. I want to use it. I was like, but mum, nothing. Like, this is my downtime. We have Disney, we have Amazon, find something else to watch, read a book, go outside. I don't care, but this is my time. And I didn't feel one iota of guilt or shame or whatever, because, my needs and my wants and my desires, been watching Lucifer, obviously, are just as important as my children's. And I think this is something that we can forget. We can be like, to say, we're going down to have a meal, and like at the moment, as I said, we're recording this, you guys will be hearing it when I'm on the trip, but we're about to leave on our cruise. So we're trying to eat everything down from the cupboards and the pantry and the fridge, not buying things. So yesterday it was dinner, and I was like, okay, we have a piece of steak, a hamburger, a sausage, and something rather else. So like kind of a pick and mix. And then I remember asking the kids what they wanted, and one of them was chatting to a friend and one of them was doing something else. So they were just like kind of ignoring me. I was like, cool, well, I want the steak. So I just chose, and they come down. I was like, oh, but I wanted that. I was like, too bad. So sad. My mum growing up would have been like going without, or would have gone, oh, here you go. And some of you might be listening to this and going, well, she's a right piece of work. Yes, I am. But also, if I don't advocate for myself, who will? And growing up, I want my children to be able to advocate for themselves. If the offer is made, hey, what do you want for dinner? And you're ignored, or nobody, speaks up, then you make the choice and then they change their mind. It's like, no, next time they'll know when I call them, they'll come running, or they'll make that decision, or they won't. But nobody's going to like miss out. And there's been times I'm thinking, things I've learned in my 30s, helping my kids with their homework. Like, kids get a lot of homework. I don't remember getting this much homework when I was a kid. I don't know if things have changed, but they used to be kind of really lax with it. And then the night before it was due, they were suddenly offloading large amounts of homework and going, I need this done by tomorrow. And now it's like, well, you're not going to get that done. You're going to have to hand it in unfinished. And I remember the first time sending my child to school with a project that was not done, feeling like the world's worst mum. But now when they get a project, they bring it home that day, and then we sit down and make a plan together. And as I said, because we are going on a holiday, my son Casimir has this project that's going to be due while we're away. So we're working through it now, and we're putting more time in. So he learns there are deadlines. There are consequences to not having things turned in on time. And what better time to learn that when you're young and it really doesn't matter in the scheme of things than when you're an adult and you're trying to go for a job, but you've missed the deadline, or have a job interview and you turn up on the wrong day or at the wrong time. Like, those things have consequences as adults. They don't as children. But if you learn the lesson as a child, then as an adult, you have, in my opinion, a much, smoother time of it. I appreciate my parents so well for instilling such a good work ethic, reading the instructions, making sure you turn up on time at the right place, prepared, all these sorts of things that they don't just happen. So yeah, last day of my 30s, it's been a ride. This show, like 316 days of recording daily, though cheating at the moment and pre-recording because I'm going to be away. I have learnt so much. I have made so many friends. I've deepened friendships, found some new clients, made some new business connections, had some amazing guests. Like, thank you to each and every one of my guests who've come on this show. If you want to come on the show, if you go to SuzanneKohlberg.com, click on podcast, scroll down, there's an application form there, fill it in. Love to have a chat to you. Just a range of topics. The other thing, last day of my 30s, go your own way, which was the very first episode of this show, and also Go Your No Way, episode 200. You don't have to do it like everyone else does it. This show, the work that I do, my life, it's a pick and mix. Like, sometimes people get really affronted, but what's your niche and who are you talking to? And you should have pillars and you should focus on this and you should only, according to who? I've had guests we've talked about, saying no in the birth room. I've spoken to a doula. I've spoken to website people. I've spoken to, other coaches. So many different guests about a range of topics, and it's been absolutely fabulous. And, I trust those of you listening to the show, if you love an episode, you'll listen to it through. If you press play and you're like, this isn't for me, you can press the stop button and go to the next one. I think, we people please so often without even realizing that we're doing it. And if there's something that I want to bring into my 40s, it's something I learned in my 30s and I want to bring to my 40s, is it's like, please yourself first. And, if it makes sense to you and it interests you and you're behind it, let's do it, and trust that the people who are also interested, curious, passionate will find you. And if you're just like, if I'm just doing this to go through the motions, like, obviously there are some things we need to do to go through the motions, like brush your teeth, people, have a shower, like take care of personal hygiene. You don't have to be always like, this is the best thing ever. But other than that, there are so many things that we do because we've always done, or because society's told us we have to do it this way, that we really don't have to. So bringing into my 40s, pushing the envelope a bit, going my own way, trusting that people who are curious and interested will come along for the ride, and the people who are like, who's that weirdo, will lovingly leave, and there's space for all of it. So thank you so much for enjoying the last near year with me. We're at day 316, so we've got 49 days to go of our daily podcast, and then we will reach the year. And after that, I don't know. We'll see what happens. Thanks for tuning in. Hope to catch you on the next one. Bye for now.